If you're a parent, your kid ending up in a violent situation is a nightmare. I'm 50 years old. I have a teenage son. I don't want my son to end up having to live through that kind of violence that I am hearing about that is happening all over the nation right now. And they're talking about crime is down. You're going to hear this multiple times because this is a long form video. We need to fix this. You heard me right. I said we. I am tired of people saying, well, government needs to fix this. Government doesn't fix anything, government makes things worse. Now, yes, this is a long form video. The reason is because I did a lot of research on this. Fayetteville, North Carolina is where I got started on this. I saw an article about this. The mayor of Fayetteville, North Carolina is pleading with parents. Got Virginia Beach. You're going to see something from Virginia Beach pleading with parents. Before all that, you're going to see a PBS article on, mind you, all this is within a few months ago. You're going to see Denver. Aurora and Denver are seeing a spike in violence. And this is among the youth. Columbia, Missouri, spike in violence. It's all across the nation. Now, I have my ideas as to why there's a spike in violence, but I want you to hear this. I am going to give you definite proof, long form, definite proof. You're going to hear from all of these people that are in all of these cities. And it's not limited to these cities. Indianapolis is talking about this. There are so many cities talking about this. We, the people of this country, need to do something about this. Not just demand the government do something about this, but we need to do something about this. You heard that right. Government is a failure in this country. No matter where you look, no matter what your political persuasion is, if you believe that government is not a failure, then you need to take off those rose-colored glasses, or you need to stop imbibing in wacky backy. So I'm going to start this out with PBS, and then we're going to go. Then we're going to go from there. And I want you to listen to all of these people, and then we're going to talk about this a little bit here. Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself.
Violent crime is on a downward trend across the country since a pandemic-era spike. But today, a number of cities are reporting a new rise in violent crime among youth. In many cases, law enforcement says social media played a central role. Stephanie Sy reports from Maricopa County, Arizona, about the challenges of addressing teen violence.
A little over a year ago, Connor Jarnigan's typical suburban teen life took a dark turn.
Until that moment, I didn't think that people had such an evil in their heart to do something like that to somebody.
While waiting in the parking lot of an In-N-Out, Connor said he was confronted by about a dozen teen boys. The leader demanded $20, and Connor resisted.
I've worked for this money. You're not just going to take it from me right here. So I said no until he punched me with brass knuckles. The whole time there was blood just gushing down my head. I was shaking and crying because I really didn't know what was going to happen to me. I didn't even know if I was going to live. It was really scary for me.
The suburb where it happened, outside Phoenix, is what his mom Stephanie described as a bubble, billing itself in recent years as one of the safest cities in America.
We live in Gilbert, Arizona. It's a bedroom community. I never thought that would happen, sending my son, letting him go have a burger with friends at dinner time. Like, I didn't think that that would be unsafe.
It turns out the teen who assaulted Connor was part of a group who called itself the Gilbert Goons.
There's videos of him fighting people all over the internet.
The group members were known for posting videos of each other flashing guns, ganging up on teens, and street racing. Examples of teen violence span social media and the country, from Missouri, where a 15-year-old girl attacked another teen, landing her in the ICU, to Stockton, California, where a group of teens filmed the beating and robbing of an 8-year-old. The violence by the Gilbert Goons, which although recorded went unchecked by law enforcement for the better part of a year, culminated in the death of 16-year-old Preston Lord last October. While a group of attackers pummeled him, some teens called 911, while others stood by, recording on their phones.
Why do you have 40 kids with a camera recording violence? I saw a 5-second video of Preston right before they did CPR. And I don't ever want to see a video like that again in Gilbert.
As community grief turned to outrage over the death of Lord, Gilbert Town Council member Chuck Bongiovanni helped set up a subcommittee to address teen violence. At a recent meeting, half the attendants were area high school students.
But just one thing I would say would be like a big deal also while going to these schools, it's just also teaching like children like accountability. Be accountable not only like the police and everything, but just like general like morals.
While moral accountability is called for by some, many others are calling for stronger law enforcement and curfews.
Now with social media, it's creating personas that these kids usually really wouldn't be if they didn't have the social media.
A 30-minute drive from Gilbert, Commander Gabe Lopez says the number of teens murdered in his city last year rose significantly from the year before, as did the number of teens charged with homicides. Lopez is head of the Phoenix Police Department's Violent Crimes Bureau. He points out the scene of a shooting late last year during a particularly violent stretch.
I think a total of 9 victims are what these 2 individuals were charged with. So of the 4 people in the car, 2 were charged with the homicide.
And they were juveniles?
They were juveniles. And again, the victim was 15, the suspects were 17, and then you had a 10-year-old shot.
Federal statistics show in 2020, homicides committed by juveniles were the highest they'd been in 2 decades.
The fear that I have, and I think it's shared by others in law enforcement, is people are doing or committing crimes so that they can capture it, so they can post it on their social media feed, so they can get street cred, or so that they can get likes.
Youth culture has moved in the direction of celebrity is, the number one value.
Psychologist James Garbarino has spent decades researching adolescent violent behavior.
The cultural immersion in violent imagery is so powerful in the United States. And of course, the rise of social media as a context in which those expressions can be offered is certainly, it's not just limited to 2020 and onward, but it has escalated as well.
Commander Lopez says social media has also changed the landscape of gang violence.
Traditionally, it had always been really focused on the neighborhood that you were from, a group of friends that you typically grew up with. Nowadays, they meet online, they communicate via social media. It's a hybrid mix of different races, different areas of the city. It's complicated as far as trying to police that.
Before Olga Lopez moved to the Phoenix suburbs from California 2 years ago, she made sure it was a safe town where her son Jeremiah could play on a competitive high school football team. But last May, Jeremiah was shot and killed at a fellow student's home in Mesa. He was 18, weeks away from graduating high school.
The teammate who lives in the house, along with the young man that lives across the street, were pointing guns at Jeremiah multiple times and recording it and posting it to Snapchat.
In the video described to her, Lopez says the laser from the guns pointed at Jeremiah shone red dots on his face.
One time Jeremiah says, "Hey, chill." Another time Jeremiah is trying to make light of the situation. A little under 30 minutes later, my son is fatally shot in the back of the head. I vowed that I would show up with the same grit and determination that he did.
Olga got the devastating news on May 7th.
It isn't something that you get over. It definitely isn't something that time heals. And every day is like the first week.
She pours herself into running a nonprofit foundation she set up with her oldest son in Jeremiah's name. While social media may have played a role in both Jeremiah's death and the attack on Conor Jarnigan in Gilbert, it was also what helped pin down the suspects in their cases. Jarnigan helped lead police to his attacker.
They got into his phone and they looked at his chats, and there it was. I hit this guy and he gave me $20.
Conor says a lot of teens have been afraid to report on their peers for fear of retaliation.
Teens need to come forward and stop being in the shadows, stop recording these fights, instead do something about it and make our communities a safer place.
He's doing his part by calling for Arizona state lawmakers to ban brass knuckles for minors. That action is tabled for now.
I'm hoping both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats alike, can come together on this issue.
Conor continues to heal, and part of that, he says, has meant forgiving the teen who attacked him. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Stephanie Tsai in Maricopa County, Arizona.
That's right. Fayetteville Mayor Mitch Colvin taking a bold stance to tackling gun violence here. He told me since the start of the year, 374 incidents involving kids here in Fayetteville, and he says that's something that's just not acceptable.
I think we're at a critical moment that either we get control of this and we take back our community, or we allow this to continue, and I don't think that's an acceptable outcome.
Fayetteville Mayor Mitch Colvin telling me he's willing to do what's necessary to preserve the safety of the community. He's announced several proposals to eliminate gun violence in Fayetteville. That includes a citywide 9 p.m. curfew for kids, no masks or backpacks at city events or on city property. He also wants to upgrade technology, including cameras with license plate readers, facial recognition, and other AI-driven tools. An enhanced security presence, including more gates and fencing at city events. And lastly, increasing the Crime Stoppers reward to $5,000. Mayor Colvin says the curfew could come with stiff penalties for parents of minors who aren't in compliance.
It could look like maybe there's a warning on the first time, and then it may go up to $1,000 after. And so, you know, the city and law enforcement is not the babysitters of these young people. We certainly want to provide venues for them to enjoy themselves, but it should come with parental responsibility and supervision.
And the mayor says he's officially bringing this proposal to City Council. From there, he says next Monday, they will vote and make a decision. We're live in Fayetteville. Akilah Davis, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
Tonight, the chief of police in Virginia Beach is speaking out against youth gun violence. Chief Paul Newdigate says this year alone, 7 juveniles have survived shootings in the city. Alex Littlehales joins us in studio with more on the chief's plea to the public. Alex.
Yeah, Dana, crime numbers in Virginia Beach this year compared to last year are down when looking at violent crime, which includes homicides, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault. But at the same time, Virginia Beach Police Chief Paul Newdigate says there are still troubling details that cannot be ignored.
Middle of a downward trend of deadly shootings in the city of Virginia Beach.
You know, we've got a 48% reduction in homicides compared to where we were last year, and that's great. We're going to champion that all day.
Police Chief Paul Newdigate knows some numbers tell another story.
Half of those that we are having involve juveniles. It's alarming.
Late last week, Virginia Beach investigators arrested a 17-year-old boy on a first-degree murder charge in the shooting death of a Chesapeake teen on Schoolhouse Road, a moment that marked half of the city's homicides involving a juvenile as either the suspect, victim, or both. Chief Newdigate told 13 News Now Monday the commonality across many of the cases is some kind of social media activity.
In almost all of our homicide cases, in almost all of our non-fatal shootings, large amount of our robberies, there is some type of social media involvement. There is not enough police resources to monitor open source social media and try to intervene and impact before it gets to the point that a trigger is pulled.
Violent crime, when including rape, robbery, and aggravated assault, is down 20% in the city. But Chief Newdigate says there are still steps forward the community can make as a whole.
Another question that I think we need to have, Alex, is, we're talking about a 17-year-old shooting and killing another 17-year-old. How does a 17-year-old get a gun? And how does he keep that gun in his possession and nobody knows about it and nobody intervenes?
So break-ins to cars and homes are some of the most common ways juveniles are acquiring the guns in these shootings, according to Chief Newdigate. I'm Alex Little-Hales for 13 News Now.
All right, thanks so much, Alex. Virginia Beach police also announced the arrest of a shooting suspect with the help of license plate reading technology. Officers arrested Timothy Kashner. He's charged with shooting a man near the ocean front in November. Investigators say a license plate reader helped officers arrest him. This technology has been in the spotlight recently because of a federal lawsuit challenging the technology's privacy use in Norfolk. But Virginia Beach Police Chief Paul Newdigate stressed the importance of the license plate readers for his law enforcement.
If I bring my detectives in this room right now and you ask them what is the single biggest, most important, most effective technology we have, it's going to be those license plate readers. It is solving shootings, it's solving homicides, it is alerting us to missing individuals.
There are hundreds of license plate readers across Hampton Roads and around 20 in Virginia Beach.
Tonight on that double shooting from Wednesday night in Aurora, police telling Fox 31 the 18-year-old who was shot has since died.
And the shooting signaling a start to what some youth violence activists believe is going to be an active summer. Fox 31's Gabby Easterwood on it, taking a deeper dive into their concerns as police continue to investigate this deadly shooting.
Well, that activist and expert we spoke to feels that youth violence this summer is going to be on the rise, specifically because of social media use for retaliatory acts.
Wednesday night, 2 teens shot and 1 killed in Aurora.
People that we have lost, that have been injured, this spring going up to the summer, it's going to lead to a lot of violence this summer if we don't step in and really do something.
That's Jason McBride, a former gang member who turned his life around and now focuses on keeping inner city youth off the streets and out of trouble. And on the cusp of summer, that work is as important as ever.
Kids are starting to get out of school. We're going to start to see more shootings, definite escalation in violence. These are just the trends. These have been the things that have kind of plagued our city for the last 7-8 years.
He says the kids he works with are desensitized to violence.
Seems like they're definitely used to it. Videos of shootings that we get, these kids aren't frantic. They're not running around screaming and yelling. Everyone has their phone out. That's definitely the scariest part.
Social media playing a large role, specifically in retaliatory type violent acts.
All these beefs are beginning on social media, and so these kids now are actively using social media sites to hunt, stalk, and kill each other.
McBride feels the city needs to do more to meet the kids where they are and provide more programs, especially this time of year.
We just need to embrace these kids, love on them, and show them the right road, and a lot of them will turn that way.
APD's major homicide unit is investigating this crime, but they don't have any suspects at this time. If you have any information, you are urged to contact Metro Denver Crime Stoppers at that number there on your screen. In Aurora, Gabby Easterwood, Fox 31.
Thanks.
A Columbia teen is now being charged as an adult with murder. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Megan Drakis.
And I'm Lucas Geisler. According to court documents, 17-year-old Cordero Riley Jr. was involved in a shooting on Rice Road in May. That incident left 18-year-old Trevin Ashcraft dead after he was shot in the head. Riley is facing charges of second-degree murder, assault, and armed criminal action. Quinina Lambert and Jordan Brantley are also facing assault and murder charges. Shannon Glasgow is charged with evidence tampering and hindering prosecution for allegedly driving some of the suspects to and from the scene. A 5th suspect charged is a juvenile.
Our ABC 17's Mitchell Kaminsky joins us live from the Boone County Courthouse tonight after digging through court documents today. Mitchell, police say Riley made several admissions to officers.
Megan, Lucas, police claim that Riley told officers that he didn't even know who he was shooting at the night of May 26, only that he was shooting at someone about 10 houses away. He also allegedly told police that he just continued firing until he ran out of ammunition. Now, teenagers and juveniles being involved in shootings has been a reoccurring theme in Columbia. I spoke with community leaders to find out how the community can curb the violence.
I'll be the first one to say that as a community, and you can tell by what's going on outside, we've definitely failed our kids.
This year, at least 20 people have been taken into custody for homicides in Columbia. Of those 20, 8 have been teenagers.
So teenagers are really easily influenced.
Anthony Johnson is the executive director of Columbia Supreme, an organization dedicated to providing youth sports, wellness courses, and financial literacy for kids. Columbia Supreme was one of 4 recipients of city ARPA money for violence prevention, which Johnson says goes beyond the police department.
Any kind of program, you're really wanting to get your kids into things around the age of 8. That's when it starts having the impact on them. And then usually by the age of 12, if your kid is going in a not so good direction, really hard to bring them back.
This week, Columbia Mayor Barbara Buffalo joined 3 other mayors across the state, asking incoming Governor Mike Kehoe to help create a better reporting database for schools to help prevent children from possessing handguns. According to the Missouri State Highway Patrol, gun-related crimes in Columbia are up compared to the same point last year. People ages 10 through 17 were the 3rd highest age group to commit gun offenses.
When you look at the numbers, when you look at poverty, that correlates really, really high to crime and violence. And usually if you follow the resources, you can figure out where the crime and the violence is going to come from in the community.
After losing her daughter to gun violence in 2019, Shonda Hamilton created Boone County Community Against Violence. After working with victims' families, she says the community is becoming numb.
There's no empathy anymore. Whenever you see it, there's no empathy whenever people are making comments. And so there are families that are affected by what's happening. And so no one's thinking about the families.
Johnson tells me he would like to see more people who are affected by gun violence in those communities, or people that just care about the issue, to run for things like school board or city council. He says when you have leaders that are continuously running unopposed, you end up getting leadership that doesn't best reflect what the whole city is going through. Reporting live in Columbia, Mitchell Kaminsky, ABC 17 News.
Mitchell, thank you. Youth violence is not an isolated problem. According to the CDC, gun injuries were the leading cause of death among children and teens ages 1 to 19 in the United States in 2022.
I'm going to say this. There is no reason in the world that parents should allow their kids to end up in this situation. Parents are supposed to be the ones taking care of their kids. We have an education system and a TV generation that is telling parents, no, you leave the raising of your kids up to the government. Kids are looking at the news if they're watching the news, or they're watching popular TV shows, and, oh, it's so cool to do these violent acts. We can get social media cred. We can, I guess street cred is out the door. I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. I don't hang around. My son's in Alabama. I'm in Virginia Beach. And the youth that I've dealt with here in Virginia Beach don't talk about street cred. And where my son is in Alabama, yeah, street cred ain't a thing. He's living on a farm and away from that kind of stuff, thankfully. But let's break it down a little bit. Here's my ideas. My ideas. You may have totally different ideas. People are talking about, well, we need to use the police. No. We need parents to step up. There need to be youth programs. Think about that for a minute. You have, like, say, if a kid, no matter what you do, is acting in a manner that they think that violence is their path in life. Okay. You have martial arts training, you have boxing training. Both of those instill discipline. To excel at both of those things, they teach discipline at a high level. If you just think that they need to be around good people, there are church groups. There are church youth groups. I have been around church youth groups, and let me tell you, if you pick the right church, it's amazing how the kids respond. If you're not so much into the whole church thing, then find programs for them to get interested in stuff other than social media cred and street cred and all this other kind of cred. Get them learning how to run businesses. Get them learning how to work with science. Get them playing sports. One of the things that I listen to, I love NBA history. And not so much NBA now, but NBA history. And Charles Barkley, Sir Charles, is one of my favorite people to listen to. And he was talking about that these kids don't look to the military, they don't look towards scientists, they look towards sports as a way to excel. Okay, well, that instills discipline if it's done correctly. Okay, then there's also the fact of that some of these neighborhoods have gangs. Let me tell you something. People in those neighborhoods need to start standing up. I don't like the idea of the violence that will occur from that, but somebody has to do something, and law enforcement is your only option in that. You can't talk these kids down. This isn't the Italian mafia. You've got violent gangs running the streets in this country. They're of all skin color. Don't think that I am just aiming at one skin color. There are kids that are joining gangs that are of all skin colors. So don't even come at me about this is a ethnic thing or a skin color thing. It isn't. We, the people of this country, need to stand up and go, what can we do? And it needs to start with your local parents. If you're working a lot because of this economy, we continuously allow certain people to destroy the economy. It's the truth. So we need to step up and get parents together and go, what can we do? Start getting youth groups that are actually geared towards getting these kids away from gangs, getting these kids into something that will be productive for the rest of their life. Gangs are good for two things: going to prison or going to a grave. I know former gang members, and some of the stories that I have heard, we should have put a stop to that back in the 90s, but we didn't. We should have put a stop to it back in the 80s, but we didn't. We should have put a stop to it in the 70s, the 60s, and the 50s, but we didn't. We need to step up. These youth need adults that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Quit listening to these idiots that say, oh, you're a victim. No, don't listen to that. There are people that are telling you, oh, you should be able to do whatever you want. No, you really shouldn't. I have thought processes that I know I should not act on, so I don't. It's called discipline. That's the first thing that we need to start bringing back to kids. For that matter, some parents. Discipline needs to start being a thing. And no, I'm not talking about abuse. I've seen abuse. Not a good thing. In any way, shape, or form. You did things that abuse does to kids. No. But there needs to be discipline, and it needs to start happening now. Because it's not the government's responsibility. It is parents and the neighborhood. I hate doing the whole takes a village to raise a child. No, it takes family. It takes a community, yes, but a community of like-minded folks in your area working together to get rid of the bad influences and bring in positive ones. That's my thought process on this. This has been Paul, Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. So, folks, that's the story that I wanted to bring you on this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for coming by. Well, hit like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff if you don't mind. Help me out. So, y'all have a good day now. Bye.